2011, the Springfield Republican published The Irish Legacy, then The Struggle for Freedom on the African American experience in our area. Now we have Our Stories, The Jews of Western Massachusetts, and Nuestra Historia, a history of Latinos in Western Massachusetts, and more books are coming. We got an update on the project from Republican writers Elizabeth Roman and Jane Kaufman and executive editor Wayne Phaneuf.
Well, it really got started when the 375th anniversary of Springfield was coming up, and we were approached by the Pediment book publisher, and he does a great job. And so we now have 6 books under our belt, and next year we're planning another 5. But we really wanted to tell the history, the ethnic history of Western Massachusetts, because when you do that, you really tell the history of Western Massachusetts. And next year we have 2 books coming out on the Civil War. It was a 49-month period, and so we're breaking it up into two volumes. And then we have the French-Canadian book, which was about 3/4 of the way finished, and that'll be out next year. We're going to do a book on the Italian community, a book on the Polish community, and a book on the 100th anniversary of the Big E.
Wow. Tremendous
It'll be a busy
undertaking.
year.
Yeah. You're going to try and get all 5 out in the 12-month
Yes.
period of
Yes.
2015?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, Jane Kaufman and Liz Roman both just tried to leave the studio, I think, when they heard that, because you both did amazing jobs, Jane and Liz. And let me ask you, first of all, it's like, what a great honor to be approached and say, would you do this book? Would you be the editor? Would you be the lead writer? But kind of a frightening, daunting assignment, too, it seems to me, because you're telling a story of a whole group of people who've been integral to the area, and it's the story of your own people in each case. And so even at home, at night, your own family is going to be asking questions and maybe raising questions, making criticism. Jane, let me ask you about that to start. What was it like to just get into this?
It was interesting to think about my heritage and sort of mesh my heritage with my job at the paper. That was the kind of interesting thing for me. I actually come from Cleveland, and so while I am not from Western Massachusetts, certainly many of the themes were similar, and I am, of course, Jewish and born Jewish. But it was really fascinating for me to have a chance to get to know the community, the Jewish community in Western Massachusetts, and to meet some of the most influential and biggest givers in many ways, not just philanthropically, although that, of course, and have a chance to have conversations with them and be moved by their stories, and I was. So it was more a feeling that I suddenly, a kind of coming of age in Springfield, sort of in my own skin, and it gave me an opportunity to explore my roots from a different perspective and to feel kind of at home as a Jew in the newspaper business.
Yeah. Elizabeth, I got to ask you really in the same way, but difference to me is the Latino community, which is so vibrant, growing so fast right now in our area and throughout the country. To have this assignment, what a joy, but what a task.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous about it. I am born and raised in Springfield my whole life. I've lived here. My parents have lived here for over 30 years, so we are very steeped in the community, and I grew up with a very rich Latino background, fluent in both Spanish and English, and went to a Spanish church for many years until I was an adult. And so I really knew a lot about what was going on in the community already, but we've never really put anything together. And when I say we, I mean the Latino community in Western Massachusetts hadn't put anything together on paper, not something solid like this. So because it is the first time that it's being done, it was very nerve-wracking. But I found a lot of support from leaders who have been here. Their families have been here since the 1950s, and they were willing to give us photos. Herbie Flores is a huge supporter of the book and also contributor in terms of photography. I mean, he could have a whole exhibit on the work that he has and all of the images of people here from years past. So it was nerve-wracking, but it was also really exciting. I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Jane Kaufman, let me ask you the thing you found, and the thing I won't say was surprised by, but the Jewish presence in Western Massachusetts goes way back, maybe farther than a lot of people would think.
It does, and actually particularly in Berkshire County, and I think it's even older there than it is here, although I admit that the book doesn't cover Berkshire County as extensively. But yes, it goes back pretty far, even prior to 1848, when my own family came to this country. Part of my family came to this country in the early 1800s. Yes, yeah.
And Elizabeth, again, slightly different story with the Latino population. And again, I think most Anglos or most people might think, well, we first started talking about Latinos in this country maybe in the 50s or 60s or so. You went back, I think, into the late 1800s, late 1890s. You found a population
1899,
growing.
I think. And actually, I have to give credit to Joe Carvalho for that because he did all of that research for me. I don't think I would have been able to manage all of that and then all the present history. So he did a really great job of that, and I discovered things I didn't know. But most of the families did come in the 1950s to work in the tobacco fields, mostly in Connecticut, the Connecticut River Valley. And it's been a pretty vibrant community since then. They didn't start getting involved in politics until maybe the 70s, 80s. And then more recently, we've had Latino legislators and city council members in Holyoke and Springfield, and extending out to Westfield that now has a very vibrant Puerto Rican community. And then it's also interesting that while we did focus a lot on Puerto Ricans because it's a large part of the population, in the past couple of years we've seen a huge increase of people coming from Central America, South America, Mexico as well. So it's definitely changing.
Jane Kaufman, I've got to ask you about, I love one thing, I love a lot of things in both of the books, but one thing that struck me, and my Yiddish is not that great, but machers and shakers. The last chapter, you focus on 7 prominent people of Jewish heritage and the roles they've come to play. And fascinating, Ray, and I won't ask you to name them all, let people get the book and see, but I mean, really fascinating, the depth and the breadth of the Jewish presence.
Yeah, it was fascinating to do. I did some of those interviews, many of those interviews, and I was moved by many of the stories that I heard. Particularly, actually, two of the last interviews I did were with Senator Stan Rosenberg and with Robert Meeropol, and both of those people were really interesting to interview and had amazing stories. So.
Yeah, they really do. Robert Meeropol, I think most people know, but a son of the Rosenbergs, who were executed in the 1950s, accused of, convicted of being Russian spies in the atomic era. And there's an amazing story that those brothers tell. Really, really something.
Yes. Yeah.
Wayne, I'm going to come back to you full circle. You told us a lot about what's coming up. I've got to ask you about, I've been a huge fan of the Civil War series. Every month, you basically are mining the archives of the Republican, and you tell us the Civil War history, but from the Western Mass perspective, how it was reported here, how it was viewed here. And you always tell us what else was going on in town. I mean, that's been a real labor of love and of labor.
Oh, it has been. And I mean, basically the way you do it is you, at the beginning of a month, you start reading the paper from that month 150 years ago, and you go through and read every single page for every single day of the month, because you never know what you're going to miss. I mean, nobody knew that a frequent visitor to Springfield was Mary Todd Lincoln, who used to stop here, have lunch at the Massasoit House, which is about 80 feet from here, and and she was with her husband, never with her husband. She was always on a shopping trip to Boston. And in kind of a snarky version, the Republican one time said that she had a second baggage car filled with the things that she bought in Boston.
And poor Abe had to foot that bill, and we've all heard stories about that. But I know that was one of the many marvelous tidbits that you came up with. I wish we had more time. We'll have you all back, certainly. Wayne Phaneuf, Jane Kaufman, Elizabeth Roman, thank you all. Thanks for the books. Thanks for coming in and talking with them about us.
Thank you.
Thanks.